Hey, what's up, everybody? It is Sunday, June 11th, 2023, and welcome to a brand new episode of the Now Mind You podcast. This is episode 70, Combat. I'm TJ,
Matt.
Bryce.
and today we will be covering some of the fight events that took place over the weekend, specifically around Josh Taylor versus Teofimo Lopez, and then we'll kind of segue into UFC 289, Nunes versus Aldana. Without further ado, Matt, take us into Taylor versus Lopez.
All right. So last night we had Teofimo Lopez, a former unified world lightweight champion. He was moving up. This was his first fight at light welterweight, junior welterweight, if you will, which is 140. Having moved up from 35. He previously was the undisputed lightweight champion. Well, he was almost undisputed. He was short one belt. And then but he was the WBA, WBO, and ring champion. He won all those titles off of Lomachenko in addition to his IBF title. He lost his belts to George Kambosos back in 2021. And then he went on to go back and regain two more titles in light welterweight, and then ended up getting a WBO title at welterweight over with a victory over Sandor Martin, which granted him this title shot against Josh Taylor for the real WBO title, and as well as the ring title at 140.
Did we cover his fight against Sandor Martin? I think we did, right? Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we did. That we even covered his Pedro Campo fight as well.
Mm-hmm.
And the George Kambosos.
This is true.
We might have covered the Lomachenko. We have actually.
Yes, we did talk about Lomachenko.
Yeah, we've talked about all those. On the other side, we had Josh Taylor. Josh Taylor was coming into this fight undefeated, 19-0. He was coming from a somewhat controversial victory over Jack Catterall in February of last year, where he was able to retain his WBA, WBC, IBF, WBO, and ring titles that he had at 140. After vacating several of those belts due to contracts and things like that, he held on to his ring and WBO titles, and he put those on the line against Teofimo Lopez. And like I said, came into the fight undefeated, having some pretty impressive names on his resume, two of which being Jose Ramirez and Regis Prograis. Those are both, pretty big victories, and he's been a relatively impressive fighter to watch at this weight class. So it was interesting to see what would happen, because this was Teofimo's first real test at the weight. And I'm gonna be honest with y'all, he passed the flying colors. There was a lot of things that happened in the lead up, a lot of back and forth, and a lot of things that kind of came out even within Teofimo's camp, and things that Teofimo was saying within the media, a lot of distractions. And I'll be honest with you, a lot of it looked bad. And a lot of it made you really question if this was a guy that was in the right mindset or the right state to fight. And I'm gonna be honest with you, like, I'm not saying this as a positive thing at all, but like, this might be a guy that just thrives in chaos. Because
you're saying some pretty wild shit during the press conferences too.
Yeah, he's saying wild stuff during the press conferences, wild stuff afterward. He did apologize about the kill thing.
Yeah.
But he just was saying wild stuff. He was saying that he wanted to die in the ring. There were like very public arguments he was having with his dad. And, I still personally think he should change his team, but at the same time, it's almost like if it isn't broke, don't fix it type of situation. As far as the fight goes, it wasn't a completely one-sided victory, but it was a relatively dominant win for Teofimo Lopez, especially once he hit literally like the fifth round. Once the fifth round came, he started to like really find his rhythm, and he was almost completely walking Josh Taylor down. He was able to get really, really athletic with him. And I thought going into this fight, I will be the first one, egg on my face. Like, I thought Josh Taylor was about to give, Teofimo his second loss. And simply off the fact that I thought Josh Taylor would be a little bit bigger than him, which he is in terms of stature, because he's, just the taller person. With him standing with Teofimo Lopez being 5'8", And again, coming up a weight class to a guy that's already at the weight and has admittedly struggled to make the weight. You know
Right.
what I'm saying?
Right.
And regardless of the fact that he's 5'8" and 5'10", it like the height difference, especially just because of the way that they both stand, looked like it was bigger than that. But I was expecting Josh Taylor to be able to make the fight a little rougher and be a little bit stronger than Teofimo. And early on, Teofimo showed that he was strong enough to be at this weight class, like in terms of his physicality. And he was able to hurt Josh Taylor several times, and especially like he almost sat Josh Taylor down in the fourth round. He never ended up getting a knockdown off on Josh Taylor, but man, he had this guy dancing quite a few times. He hurt him in the fourth round with an uppercut. Hurt him with some right hands and stuff in the fifth round, and then he pretty much was just picking him apart, mostly from like the fifth round to the end. Josh Taylor had his moments. He definitely was getting busy. He was moving his head, but once Teofimo really found his rhythm and was bouncing around and he was dancing and jumping in and out and moving his head, he was able to just do a lot of things that I didn't even think he would be able to pull off on a guy that I thought was the caliber of like a Josh Taylor.
Yeah.
I thought it was a really impressive win. Again, maybe he just thrives in the chaos, man, because every time he's about to fight, there's always like a lot of controversy. Hell, maybe it's an act. I don't know. But, the dude was talking about his divorce and haven't seen his kids and dealing with his dad, and his dad's yelling at him when he's trying to do his interview with ESPN. And it's just, it was a lot of
Too
stuff.
much. Yeah.
And there was a lot of things that would really like a ton of red flags would be like, yeah, dog, you shouldn't be fighting tomorrow night. And then he goes out there and performs like that. And it's like, well, fuck what I'm saying.
Right. You do you, homie.
You got
Clearly, this is the formula.
Yeah, so I don't know. Maybe he thrives on it. You know what I'm saying? Maybe that's his fuel when he in the ring. Who knows? But that's pretty much all I got. I'll pass it off to y'all. We can hop over to that UFC. Unless somebody else got a chance to see the fight.
I only saw the first round, but even in that first round, I was like, oh, Teofimo is able to access Taylor's body. Oh, he is finding a home for that right hand. That was just the first round. So I can imagine it didn't go that well for Taylor from there. But yeah, I still have to watch the whole thing. That's me. 289? 289.
Yeah, let's get into this UFC.
UFC 289, Nunes versus Aldana in Canada. Shit. Like, who do we have? We had Barrio versus Anders at middleweight. We had Ige versus Landwehr, Dan Ige versus Nate the Train, 50K Ige versus Nate the Train. That was like a scrap on paper. Malat versus Fugit at welterweight. Then for co-main, we had Oliveira versus Dariush at lightweight. And then, of course, main event, a women's bantamweight title, Nunes versus Aldana.
News at the end of that, too.
Yeah, and props to her. Should we spoil it? Spoil it.
Yeah, fuck it.
Nunes retired. And good for her. What a career. What a way to go out on top. Champ of like 2 fucking divisions. You know what I'm saying? Like, you do not see that. You do not usually see champs in like be champ, like even just
a
like
defending champ in both divisions.
Right. Yep. And like just being able to go out on top, that's rare. That's really, really rare. So good on her. Smart on her too, to get out before you start taking damage, right? Like
shit, the division then turned over.
Yeah. Yeah. So shout out Nunes. But with that, if y'all don't mind, I can open us up with Marc-Andre Barrio versus Eric Shaboy Anders, right?
Let's go.
So let me just get y'all a little bit of fighter data right quick. All right. We got Marc-Andre Barrio, Canadian, right? Marc-Andre Power Bar Barrio, which is like, okay, I see what you did there. I ain't mad at you, Playboy. But 33 years old, fighting out of Gatineau, Canada, right? Trains at Sanford MMA. He's a striking stylist who made his octagon debut back in June of 2023. What? No, that cannot be. We've seen the Marc-Andre Barrio before. UFC website, you done fucked up now. But he's been pro since 2014. Let's see, last 3 But he won against Anthony Hernandez and he lost by submission, which I think we covered on the podcast back in September 2022. He went up against Jordan Wright back in April of 2022, which I believe we covered it on the podcast as well. He won that by submission.
And his last win was against Julian
Marquez back in March of 2023, which I believe we covered, unless it was early prelims. If it's not main card, there is a chance that we didn't cover it. But if it's main card, we probably covered it. Then on the other side, we have your boy Eric Anders. That is such a good nickname, but Dean Thomas might be in hot water because he keeps on calling him El DeBarge. That's
that shit funny.
It's so funny. That's neither here nor there. Well, he's fighting out of San Antonio, Texas, through the MMA lab. He's 36.
Mm-hmm.
He looks younger than Marc-Andre Barrio. Anyway, he made his octagon debut back in July of 2017. He's been pro since 2015. Let's take a look at his last few. Out of his last 3, not counting this fight, he's won 1 out of the last 3, right? So he murdered Dawkins back in December last year. Took that split decision L against Park back in May of last year, and took that submission loss to Nunes back in December of 2021. So needless to say, like coming off of like that dub he got off Kyle Dawkins, like he was trying to, capitalize on it, keep it going. But I'm tell you something, spoiler alert, it did not go his way. I won't say it was a one-sided beating, but it effectively looked as if Marc-Andre had his number because, I mean, when it comes to the striking, it's just like Barrio was doing something that I think was what, spoiler alert, I'm going ahead, is what Aldana should have been doing against Nunes. But he was constantly punching in between Anders' combos and hitting center, like constantly. Like they're very clean 1-2s, a lot of good knee work. He wasn't overwhelmed with your boys wrestling in any way, shape, or form. He was just all around clean, and it ended up being a one-sided beatdown-ish for 3 rounds. Now, the judging ended up saying it was a unanimous decision win, but I do think round 2, me personally, should have gone to your boy because he took down Barrio quite a few times and had quite a significant amount of ground control time. I think round 2 personally goes to Eric Anders, but round 1 and 3 clearly went to Marc-Andre Barrio. That was my thought. I thought it was an exciting opener.
The guy fight of the night.
Yeah. I'm surprised that got fight of the night. I would have imagined
a few people got fight of the night.
Landwehr versus fucking 50K Ige would have gotten fight of the night.
They did too.
Okay, good for them. But yeah, that's where I'm at with it. Any thoughts on Anders versus Barrio, fellas?
I agree with you totally. You know how I am, especially once you get a knockdown,
Yeah.
And he got that knockdown on Eric Anders early.
Yeah.
So he had him working from behind. And I thought round 2, obviously Eric Anders was able to kind of pull himself together. But I felt like in round 3, it was just like a lot of defensive wrestling, stall tactic stuff. You know what I'm saying? Which was like, nope. But it was like, it was out of necessity, man. He was done.
Yeah.
I thought he put a lot of effort forth. I thought he put a ton of effort forth in that second round. And I think having to come back from so far behind the 8 ball, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
From getting, he was in hell that first round.
Yeah.
And he pushed out of that. And, who knows what all that took out of him to pull off. And then to try to, to literally get the fight back where it was even in the second round, then to have to turn around and win that third round where it was like, you kind of got it even, but you still was, to me at least, was down 2 rounds. Like he didn't dominate him in that second round. He just won the second round.
Yeah, that's true.
But that's, neither here nor there. I'm kind of just being an echo to what you said. So,
well, shit. Do you want to take us into the next one?
Yeah.
50K.
Our next one, we had Dan Ige versus Nate Landwehr, which I think is a cool name just by itself.
Yeah.
First of all, battle of two motherfuckers with cool names.
Yeah. They both got dog in them too.
Yeah. Lot of Doberman. A lot of Doberman Rottweiler energy was popping off in here. Yeah, if you was looking for dog, this was it. Both of these guys threw roughly around the same amount of strikes, both in significant strikes and total strikes. I think the difference maker, I think the difference maker was Dan Ike's takedown defense.
Yeah.
Like this fight was that close. I thought as far as the strike, it was literally like they would go striking exchange for striking exchange, and though both of them would get each other in those exchanges, it was like like they would both get each other in exchanges, but one of them would win the exchange and then they would trade it off.
Yeah.
And I think the big difference maker was literally the fact that Nate Landwehr just couldn't get him on the ground. I think he had better stand up than Dan Ige may have planned for.
Yeah.
But the wrestling just was not, he wasn't able to get that off.
Yeah.
He wasn't able to stop him with that one. So that pretty much was how I felt about the fight. I mean, not how I felt about the fight. I thought the fight was a good fight. I thought it was good to see Dan Ige get another win. He kind of went on that loss streak. We lost like 3 straight, and then he just beat Damon Jackson his last fight back in January with that with the knockout.
We covered
and
that.
I mean, he was fighting a guy that was on the 3-fight win streak. So the 3-fight win streak and getting a bonus all 3 times too. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So again, it goes back to like him properly planning for the wrestling, because in 2 of those 3, it was submissions, anaconda choke and a rear naked choke.
Yep.
But yeah, I just felt like that was the difference maker here. I thought it was a lot of action and shit. Shout out to Nate Landwehr for just being able to withstand some of those shots.
Dude,
and obviously,
man,
we've seen Dan Ige
the
do
buzzer
it too,
beaters.
Whew, he was sending that motherfucker back to the crib with food. He was giving his ass a doggy bag right at the bell. Bank.
Unintended.
Take that with you back to the corner, dog. Take that with you. Like shit.
Hey, you forgot something. Hold on.
Hey, my man, I think you dropped
this drink. There we go.
Yeah.
Right, you know what's the other crazy thing? To me, it looked like Nate didn't even take that much damage compared to what Dan looked like.
That's true too.
Yeah.
But only one of the fighters had their consciousness separated multiple times.
Yeah. Yeah. I was gonna say, I think that was also like
that's a good call
off the mat. Not only was it takedown defense, but it was the fact that didn't Dan get like two knockdowns?
Yeah, the buzzer beaters. Both times it was literally right at the end of a round.
Yeah, that was those.
He got one official one that they counted, but he got his ass twice.
Yeah, those were nasty. Good on both these gentlemen. It was a really good fight. It was a good war.
Yeah,
I think that in itself made this card better than the last ones we got. Like there weren't any wars. Well, Cara France Albazi was a war, but then it kind of leaves a bad taste in your mouth. So, yeah. But ultimately, I thought it was a good
one. Who we got up next, TJ?
Malott versus Fugit. So we had, I believe, was it Mike Malott, Canadian native. Also, something I got to talk about too. The energy was crazy in that Canadian crowd, is what it looked like, and. Not to bring up Jujutsu Kaisen, but I'm gonna just say this, especially looking at this fight, bro. It looked like anyone who was from the home field had that home field advantage domain amplification. Cause Mike Malott, proper Mike Malott, was not playing with your boy Adam Fugit. Let me get into a little bit of fighter data, right? So we've actually covered one of Mike's fights before. I think we covered Malott versus Lane Ness back in February of this year, right? Which he also got that dub by submission. Then before that, like he just started back in April of last year where he fought and defeated Mickey Gall by KO TKO, right? Then we had Adam Fugit, and same thing with Adam Fugit. We did cover his fight. This was remember Matt, it was that Fight Night Asian card where the timing was kind of weird because they were trying to cater to the fans. It was that one that like started at some really weird random ass time that we ended up having to watch the day after because like ain't no way, bro. Ain't no way.
That shit came on at like 11 o'clock.
Yeah, bro. And we were like,
it was like the
come
main
on,
event was
dog.
happening while we was getting up.
We were literally all pissed off about that. It was it was Kinoshita versus Fugit, right? And
Yeah.
it was important for Adam Fugit because he didn't get the desired outcome in his debut. So this was an opportunity for him to make up for that. And he made up for it in spades because he got that knockout, right? So both of these dudes are coming off of victories. One of them has like a streak of victories, and one of them was like, all right, let me just keep this momentum going, right? But let me tell you something, bro. Proper Mike Malott, he's been training with Team Alpha Male, and based on the mixed martial arts he displayed, yeah, there's no doubt he's been training with Team Alpha Male. He had double underhooks at some point. He had a lateral job on Adam Fugit, but this isn't even the craziest part. Like, he let the tone be set immediately. As soon as the round started, boom, body kick. He almost ended it by making Adam Fugit's liver quiver in the first round. But here's the thing, Fugit's resilient. He found a way to kind of hang in there and keep the fight going. But let me just tell you how this ended. I believe it might not have been a whole minute into round two. Malott lines up his right hand, right hook with Fugit's face. That's not the one that takes Fugit down, though, right? He follows up immediately with a left hook that is right on the money. You see Fugit starts to go down. Now, you'd be like, oh, so you mean Malott just let him crumple and then the ref came in and did what he had to do? Oh, no, sir. No, sir. Mike Malott's like, hey, bro, it's crazy that you're crumpling from my hands, but let me tell you something. I'm actually a mixed martial artist. While you're in mid crumple, let me just hop on real quick and grab this little guillotine with your arm still inside.
Give me this real quick.
He hops, bro. You guys saw it. He hops on this guillotine before Fugit's body hit the ground, right?
You don't need this.
And
Come here.
He's like cinching the guillotine, and then he's like unable to cinch it, so he readjusts, and this time he kind of finished it from mount. So he could have ended this with just like a knockout, a TKO, but he's like, you know what, bro? I've had a good streak of submissions. Why break that? Get this arm and guillotine. And that's how the round ended. He was the last Canadian fighter on the card, and bro, he closed it out for Canada. He fucking closed it out for Canada.
And
Go ahead.
Let me tell y'all this. Canada was undefeated that night. All the Canadian fighters won.
The domain amplification, I'm telling you, dog.
Yeah. And the last two times they said Canada is 6-0 and in the last few times they've been there. Last 6 fights they've had there, the Canadian guys have all won. They 6-0.
Yeah, that makes sense. Shit, I feel like it even extended to Charles Oliveira, low key. They treated him like he was one of their own, bro.
Low key, he just got his Canadian citizenship on the low.
He just smiled.
Yeah.
Would it be okay if I took this next one?
Go ahead, my guy.
Go ahead.
I just got to say this. This is the one thing I appreciate. So we had Charles Oliveira versus Beneil Dariush, right?
Mm-hmm.
The one thing I got to say, because spoiler, Charles Oliveira wins this fight. It is fucking crazy that Charles Oliveira will get in this ring with this fucking Kool-Aid man smile on
and
gleefully skip around the ring, hug and kiss every single person in your corner, and then send you to the fucking shadow round right after that. He will send you directly to hell, bro. He'd be like, hey, man, it's all love. Die. Like, oh, my God. Like,
okay,
bro,
I don't mean to cut you off,
no,
but did you guys also feel like the ref stepped in a little too late?
Yeah, I was like, bro,
I did. I did.
Clearly not alive.
My man's was not there. Like, by the time the fight was over with, Dariush just looked. I was like, he didn't have to experience.
He took too many shots.
Hey, Data was in the ref ear like, nah, we need some highlights. We need some highlights. Let him keep going.
He was that Bow Wow meme, more violence, like pressing a button and shit.
Jesus.
Bro. Yeah. You said it, man. You said it. The way, I mean, like the fact that Dariush had Oliveira on the ground, and it's just like, oh, he's fighting him on the ground. He doesn't want to get up. He actually wants to do this on the ground. Yeah, nah, he was in a different mode. Yeah, Oliveira has never all his fights, he's never not been impressive. Even the fight against
Gaethje?
Makhachev,
Oh,
even
Makhachev.
that fight.
Yeah.
And every time you do like behind the scenes with him, you learn a little bit more stuff. He talking about every time he got a fast, his parents fast with him, and they refused.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Like what? Yeah, so
Take a ride or die, literally. I'd be like, no, man, no.
So honestly, he might have took fight personally, like, bro, I gotta beat your ass, man. My mom and dad ain't me. I gotta beat your ass. So, and Oliveira, probably not. Like, they'll probably do the winner between Gaethje and Poirier, and I think that'll be a good fight. But down the line, definitely Oliveira has next go around. If he does fight Islam, I think I'm rooted for Oliveira, but just the way that fight happened, it's just Islam used his own tactic. I'm gonna knock you to the ground and I'm gonna submit you. And Oliveira was so afraid to strike with him, which I get. We just gotta see. But
I don't know, man. Like since Volkanovski showed that they're human, the vibes might be different this time.
That's very true. That is very true. Damn, that's another one. Islam got a bunch of good fights coming up for him. Yeah, we're gonna see. That'd be an interesting one, Volk versus Charles. Honestly,
we could see it.
Yeah.
It might look like Volkanovski versus Brian Ortega, though. I think Oliveira might be a little bit more.
Real quick, before we forget, the way that this fight, just quickly, we can jump right back to what you're saying, Bryce. I just realized we never even said how the fight went.
That's true.
It started, it started outstanding. Charles, I'm going to go based off an interview that I saw Justin Gaethje do, but also just how that looks. Charles must be really strong. Like, there must be absolute thunder in this dude's hands, because it seemed like even the shit Beneil Dariush was weaving, like the punches he was whiffing, was like, damn, I'm still kind of getting damaged from this. Like,
yeah,
he just was like, he throws so precise. Like, Charles Oliveira was just throwing heat at this dude right away and just walked him right into that left head kick. And at that point, I was like, okay, ref. And then he stood up and then he hit him with a right hand. I was like, okay, ref. And then Charles jumped on his back, and I was like, okay, ref. like I was just kind of waiting for where he was going to get in there. Like, Beneil Dariush was kind of getting his ass beat a little bit.
A little?
It's like, bro, hey, my man,
all saw the light leave his eyes, bro.
Nah,
like,
wait.
what are you talking about?
There's a picture on Charles Oliveira's Instagram of him walking away, and you see Beneil in the back. He looks traumatized. Like,
so here's the thing. You just hit the nail on the head. The ref didn't stop the fight like fucking Oliveira did. He's like, he's had enough. I'm gonna turn now. The ref, the ref never actually stepped in. It was like fucking
And I was wrong. It wasn't a left head kick. It was the right head kick. He did like the like, what's bro name? Stephen Thompson. Like, he did the right hand head, then high kick after that. And then, like, I mean, he caught him with them double hooks. He just, man, Charles Oliveira looked crazy when he was up in there. I was like, yo.
Yeah, I feel like that ref should get fired, though. That was, come on, man.
Hey, if that ref get fired, whoever is Charles Oliveira's cameraman needs like a raise, because the pictures he took are just amazing and terrible at the same time.
Right.
I'd be mad if I was Beneil.
Also, Charles Oliveira got the record now for the most finishes in the UFC.
This is true.
With 20, he on Jim Miller ass.
No, he was tied with Damian Maia.
Was
I think, right? No, they showed it. They put the graphic. It's like him, Damian Maia, like in third place. And that's Jim Miller and somebody else. I think Cowboy.
This shit is wild, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He has the second most submission attempts in the UFC.
Man.
He's tied with Damian Maia for most wins in the UFC.
Oh yeah, you're right.
And let's just say,
But he
comeback
does have the
fighter-
record for the most finishes in the UFC.
What if Max Holloway is like, you know what? I'm gonna start pursuing submissions.
Right.
Please.
Max Holloway's like, I didn't change. I need to do some.
Have broken all the records, set a significant gap that no one could reach.
Yeah. Charles Oliveira's at
Get these
20,
submissions.
Jim Miller at 17, and Cerrone is at 16.
Telling you, bro, once Max Holloway decides to start pursuing submissions, it's over for these hoes.
He's like, well, I'm done setting the striker record.
Yeah.
Now I just want to put people to sleep. I got to make things interesting.
It was like, well, at least that's more peaceful than what you was doing before. Jesus.
Yeah. The Bronx. Greatest
man, so
fighter of all time, too.
What'd you say?
Fighter? Like comeback career? Holy shit.
He's had a really incredible career.
Yeah.
He they saying that the number one contender fight is gonna be this BMF title fight next week between Poirier and Gaethje. But Dana White pretty much confirmed, like he was like, dude, you just gotta do Islam Oliveira next. Like you have to. So I think that might be what we getting, but we'll see. We'll see. Anybody else had any other thoughts, feelings on this?
BMF should be like a Money in the Bank type of
Mink
title.
and Mink.
I said it.
Just Mink and Mink. You funny as hell, Bryce. I heard that. Damn, just Mink and Mink. Well, y'all want to go into this main event? Oh my God.
Go ahead.
Main event Mink.
The main event Mink. All right. Bryce done. All right, guess so. We had Amanda Nunes versus Irene Aldana. Aldana. I'm sorry. Man, Amanda Nunes, let me just tell y'all, spoiler alert. If she wasn't already in the Hall of Fame, she stamped that shit last night. Man, where do I start? I'm just gonna give a quick overview and I'm gonna pass it back to y'all. Amanda Nunes had to fight to defend her bantamweight title. In her defending her bantamweight title, this was, another chapter in her storied career of defending that both her featherweight and bantamweight titles simultaneously, which she has been doing. And she also coming into this fight has not lost in almost 10 years. The last time her last loss was in 2014, and then she beat, you'll like this one, Bryce. She beat Shayna Baszler. And that was the beginning of her undefeated streak up until she lost to Juliana Pena. Got that win back, and then defended the title again against Irene Aldana. And she pretty much ran her combo list. She just ran her command list on this girl for 5 rounds.
Yeah.
And then she put her gloves down, her belts down, and she retired. And I tipped my hat to her. And that's where I'm gonna leave it for me. I'm sure I'll probably come back in, but I talked a lot on that last one, so I'm gonna pass it to y'all.
Go ahead, Bryce.
She's the GOAT. She is one of the best. Everybody says one of the best women's fighter. Yes, that's true. She is the best women's fighter of all time. She's also just one of the greatest UFC fighters of all time.
She's the greatest MMA fighter of all time, bro. She's to me, she top 5 and she not 5.
Yeah.
She top 5 and she not 5, like men included. 2 divisions, 2 defensive titles in 2 divisions simultaneously.
Yeah.
Like she held both divisions down. She went and took a belt from a division they made from a shorty they made the division for. Beat Miesha Tate for the bantamweight, defended it against Ronda, defended it against Valentina, defended it against Raquel, went up there, took that joint off sideboard, went back to bantamweight, defended that on Holly, defended that on Jermaine, went back to featherweight and got 2 title defenses, went back to bantamweight, lost it, got it back, and then defended that again. She was like, I'm straight. She been a pro since 2008.
Yeah.
She finishing her career 28 fights, 23 wins, 5 losses. Top of the world, 2 belts, losses still in the single digits.
Yeah.
and all the fucking records, all of them.
Yeah, she broke some more last night.
Yeah.
What'd she get? I believe I wrote it down. Just broke the record for takedowns in UFC women's history, and then
Most wins
broke
in
the record for
UFC
most
title
wins
fights
in US
for women.
UFC women's history. Yeah,
Most wins. She got. I'm finna run it. She got. Sorry. She had most wins for UFC women's title fights. Most wins in the UFC bantamweight championship fights. Most fights for women's championship fights at bantamweight. First woman to have 2 titles. First woman to have and defend both titles simultaneously. What else she got on here? She got the most wins of women's history, most finishes of women's history, most consecutive wins of women's history, most knockout wins of bantamweight, most finishes at bantamweight, most she pretty much has the most wins in the history of the bantamweight division.
Yeah.
Like she has all the records.
She is her.
Yeah, she is.
She is her. She's him. She whatever the fuck she want to be. She's the GOAT. Like it's a tough argument to make. Because the argument she got over, the only person that she don't have the defended both belts argument over is Daniel Cormier. And she still got him beat because she did it more times than he did it.
Yeah.
And she had him at the end.
Yeah. And she retired
she
on a
went
win.
out with him. Yeah. Which is not something a lot of folks can say.
Yes, it did. Yes, indeed. Yeah. Truly magnificent. Truly.
Anything else y'all wanted to add?
Oh, bro, you hit the nail on the head. It's just, well, I will say for Irene, like Irene, it's like, I don't know why she couldn't get her feet together on her combos, because maybe it was fear, maybe it was too much respect for Nunes, but she had moments of success when she got her combos together. Like you could see the Los Lobos style. It was extremely precise. And she caught Nunes in that first round with that right hand that kind of sent her stumbling a little bit, you know?
It just seemed like she was frozen. It seemed like
like
the lights was too bright for her.
Yeah, the corner was telling her the same thing every time. Like Francisco Lobos, I forget if that's if his first name is Francisco. I hope I didn't get it wrong. But he kept on saying, I was like, hey, come on, stop being respectful. Like go in there and do what you do. But it wasn't her time yet.
Yeah, it could have been. It probably could have been like a mental aspect of it. It's not that we haven't seen that. It's not like we haven't seen that before. Yeah.
I mean, it's a tall order to fight Shorty.
Yeah. Yeah.
You asking for a lot.
I think the doubt that was built up for Amanda Nunes, that Juliana Pena brought in, was completely erased in the second fight.
Yeah.
They was like, oh no,
they made her hungry again.
Yeah, that woke up the lioness.
And then to not only win your title back, but to defend it one more time real quick, like reaffirm you could do it, and at the lighter of the 2 weight classes that you hold titles in. Right. That's the other thing. Like she ain't just sit at featherweight after she won that featherweight belt.
No, she did not.
With the easier weight cut. She kept defending the smaller title because that division actually is active.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, man. Also, man, I truly think also quasi petty shit. I truly think that like she was gonna retire after the first Juliana Pena fight, but Juliana Pena won. She's like, nah, fuck that. I'm getting my shit back. Then she beat Juliana Pena, and she was like, yeah, I can retire right here, but I ain't gonna have this bitch talk about you ran from me.
Well, she is still talking about that.
Yeah, it was kind of in poor taste.
It's bizarre.
Yeah. It's shit, man. Amanda Nunes put it the best way she could. Hey, whoever the champ after me is the fake champ.
Yeah, it's like it's bogus because it's like they
come
ain't
together
really
like butt cheeks.
It's bogus because it's like, damn, they not really the fake champ. It's just, same time. You retire with both the belts, so they just making some new shit. Like,
honestly, it's gonna have the same feeling that people have for Nurmagomedov. It's gonna be the same feeling. It's gonna
But
be the
you
same
know
feeling.
what I will say is it's not even fair to put it like that because she didn't really done like word to Shawty Low done it all, bro. She didn't beat everybody.
Yeah,
She did.
She beat everybody.
this is true.
So either listen, she vacating them belts. Juliana Pena and Raquel Pennington, they could fight. They rank 1 and 2. Like, even if you go on the website, it ain't even no rankings for 45. Holly Holm could go get that belt real quick.
Is Jermaine still in the
Nah,
UFC?
man, she not even in the UFC.
Yeah.
Listen. This is what you do. You let Raquel Pennington, who coming off a win, fight Juliana Pena, right?
Mm-hmm.
You let them fight for the bantamweight joint.
Let them fight. Yeah.
And then you let Holly Holm fight Caitlin Vieira for the other one.
Hmm.
That's 1 through 4 all getting fights. Because both of like, come on, man. Caitlin Vieira, she could definitely afford that 10 pounds. And I'm not saying it like that. I'm saying like with her frame. Listen, everybody that cut weight, I'm sure would love an extra 10 pounds.
Yeah, I agree.
Right.
That's what I'm saying. Like, why
and
is
Holly Holm
bigger?
And it's already a story there because Caitlin Vieira didn't beat Holly Holm before.
Right.
You feel me? So this could be Holly Holm versus Vieira 2 for the featherweight joint. And then, come on, Dana, just rock with your boy. Holla at me, man. Let me just do this matchmaking for this division. Stop playing. Stop playing. They need to go ahead and put Amanda on the straight pound for pound list. Like, not the women's pound for. I ain't trying to, like, where's she at? On the top. Because she need to be here.
She ain't on there?
No, well, they got 2 separate ones. It's a women's pound for pound list and a men's. I'm saying she should just be on the straight pound for pound list, period.
Yeah.
With that level of an accomplishment. Because no men have done what she's done.
This is true.
I'm just calling it just on some straight down the line. There's not a single man in this division that has accomplished what she has accomplished. John Jones, I understand, number 1 pound for pound, whatever, champion in 2 divisions, undefeated and all this for all these years. I'm not discrediting that. He hasn't defended the heavyweight title yet. If he was jumping back and forth between those 2 weight classes, it's not even an argument. That would actually be more impressive.
Yeah.
To cut from 205 to cut to 205 and to go back up to heavyweight. But that'd also be fucking impossible. But you know what I'm saying? I just think she's done something. She's accomplished something that's really, really amazing. I'm really just kind of, obviously, as y'all can tell, like fanning out, but I'm just in awe of her career because that just is so impressive.
Yeah.
Such an impressive thing to have been able to do and to end her career like that. Was it the most like, oh man, this is a super exhilarating fight? No, it was a masterclass. It was a two division champion fending off another challenger. That's what happened. And then she retires. She walks off into the sunset. She gets to go home with her kids, with her wife, and they get to go live their life, man.
Yeah, she's still young enough, has her mental faculties to be able to enjoy it. That's the beautiful part.
Like, open up a gym, whatever the fuck she want to do. She
ain't got no ops.
She said
she don't got no ops, bro. There's no ops left. She didn't beat Irene Aldana, which was like, okay, the division that turned over on me. She beat Juliana Pena, Megan Anderson, Felicia Spencer, Jermaine Durandamy, Holly Holm, Chris Cyborg, Raquel Pennington, Valentina, Rhonda, Misha, Sarah McMahon, Shayna Baszler,
Monique. Sorry.
Right. You funny as hell. But basically, yeah, like if you was in the UFC, shorty, she got you.
Yeah.
She picked you off. The only people to ever beat her in the UFC are Kat Zingano and Juliana Pena. In the UFC. She has other losses, but they're outside of the UFC.
Yeah.
Those are the only people that beat her while she was in the UFC.
That's
crazy.
Congratulations.
Yeah, congratulations on her career, man.
Congrats.
Way to go out on your own terms, too. Sorry, go
ahead. Man, it's one of the most impressive ways I've seen a person in their career, like period.
Yeah. And
she top 5 and she not 5, bro.
Mm-hmm.
That's all I'm saying. Next week for the UFC, we got Fight night, Vettori versus Cannonier, which is really interesting as hell on paper. I think Marvin Vettori has, I think Marvin Vettori can beat Jared Cannonier, just because of his work rate. But the way that Jared Cannonier's hands are set up.
Yeah, and I was gonna say Marvin Vittori's last performance wasn't spectacular. Like, if I recall correctly, he fought that and got that decision dub, but it was like, did he win? Did he? Yeah, against
I remember it was
Zalidze.
kind of a questionable way.
Yeah,
I remember that.
Win? Yeah.
We also got on this card, you're gonna find this funny. We got Muslim Salikov on this card trying to beat out Andre Fialio early.
Oh shit!
Getting work.
Oh my god! What?
He back to it. Let's go.
What? Andre Fialio's all right. New year. Let's get to work. Enough of this time off bullshit.
Yeah. Enough of this.
Give me
time
all
off.
The fights. Like, give me all. Fialio.
He be leaving the ring like, Dana, I'm gonna call you tomorrow. Like, please don't.
Dana looking at his phone with terror, like, don't call me.
Like, dude, please don't do this.
I can't do this today.
It's we got Muslim Salikov is on this card. We also got
Sarukian's on this card too. He's co-main.
Yep, that's what I was about to say. Our Mr. Sarukian is on here. And Manuel Torres, we've covered a few of his fights before us too. This Nicholas Darby, Muslim Salikov, low key gonna be kind of exciting. I'm not gonna hold you.
Go ahead. Go ahead. No, you, please.
Then on the boxing side of things, next week we have Regis Prograis versus Danilito Zorilla, defending his WBC 140-pound title. And we also have on Sunday Tim Tszyu versus Carlos Ocampo for the interim WBO junior middleweight title. That's what we got on boxing next week, and that's also what we got on combat sports.
What's crazy to me is I thought Regis, the host of Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, had passed away, but to see that he's out here still boxing,
you're
man,
funny.
That is crazy,
hell.
bro. That's crazy to me.
Yeah, man. So that's what we got for combat. Thank you guys for rocking with us again. This has been another episode of the Now Mind You podcast. You can follow us all on social media. You can follow me at Matt Hambrick. That's MATTHAMBRIC TJ.
Y'all can find me on Instagram at Tuss4Skate. That's TUSS__SKATE. Bryce.
And y'all can find me on Instagram at Akshay_Onsa. That's AXE_ONCA. Bay. And where can they find the podcast?
You can find us at Now Mind You Podcast, wherever you like to get your podcast. We're on all podcasting platforms. We're also on all social media platforms at Now Mind You Podcast. Hit us up, give us a follow. You guys got any questions? You guys want to discuss combat sports? See what, pick our brains about how the fights went over the weekend. Message us the night of the fights. It's up to you. Whatever you want to do, let us know how you guys feeling. Hit us up whenever you get a chance, and we will see you guys next week. Peace out.
Peace. Hey.